Boy. Hi there. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is The Farzy Show. It's presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Hope you guys are just having a great day because yesterday sucked. Oh, it sucked. So here's what went down. I'm watching the Phillies game. I'm enjoying my life, because I enjoy baseball so much, and I enjoy the Phillies. In particular, I enjoy the Phillies so much this season. They're up 3-0 on a really terrible team that's called the Miami Marlins. This should be 4 nice little gifts from the Major League Baseball schedule before you go into a pretty rough patch, the schedule, right? So you're facing this team, and you're up 3-0 in the 7th inning. Zach Wheeler has 2 outs in the 7th inning. He has pitched 6 2/3, and he has looked beautiful while doing it, right? And the bullpen just pitched a hell of a lot the previous night. So you got your starter going into the 7th inning, or pitching, in the 7th inning there. Yeah, and it's great. It's awesome. It's beautiful. And then all of a sudden he gives up a single. And you're like, oh, all right, well, hits happen, And then he goes up 0-2 in the count, and you think, oh, he's going to get out of this. And he's facing Ali Sanchez, I believe it was. Yeah. And he paints the corner makes it sound almost like, it could have been a ball. It wasn't. He got a lot of the corner. He painted it. It was a really broad stroke. All right. It was a really wide stroke. If he got there, and he did, he got the outside corner of the plate. So you figure, strike 3, you're out of the inning, leading straight on run around base. But that's not what happened. Emil Jimenez was the home plate umpire. He just said, nope, that's a ball. So it went from a 0-2 count to a 1-2 count to a 3-2 count to a 10-pitch at bat that finished with Ali Sanchez singling to center field. He had a single to center field. So now you got 2 runners on. You got 2 outs. All right. Zach Wheeler leaves the game. They go to Matt Strahm, who's been pretty much automatic this year. Then he hits a guy to load the bases, Chisholm, and then gives up a bases-clearing triple. Bases-clearing, 3-run, game-tying triple against the Miami freaking Marlins. Josh Bell steps up to the plate. He gives the Marlins a 4-3 lead with a double to left field, one that Kyle Schwarber was running around on, apparently with a bum groin. And then the Phillies, spoiler, go on to lose the game. And on the last out, Bryce Harper trots down the first base line and grabs his left hamstring. Yes, I know Michael Barkan said it on the post-game show. I said it on the postcast. I said it as soon as it happened. I had this feeling of Ryan Howard against the Cardinals, against the Cardinals, going down the first base line and pulling up lame, and then his career was never the same after that. That was the feeling I had. Now, do I feel the same way as far as Bryce Harper goes versus Ryan Howard? No, I don't feel that Bryce Harper's career is never going to be the same after this. This is a hamstring that was a surgical procedure that needed to be done on Ryan Howard's ruptured Achilles, I believe it was. So it's not the same in terms of severity, but in terms of, this sucked. Oh, and it's going to suck more? Great. That's the feeling. That's the feeling I'm comparing. They were up 3-0. From a baseball standpoint, they were at 3-0, and they blew that lead to the Miami Marlins and lost 7-4. Zach Wheeler gets no decision. 6 2/3, 2 runs allowed by Zach Wheeler. The bigger story is what the hell is going to happen with Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper, because both are going to get imaging done today. We'll hear from both. Rob Thompson wouldn't really get into it after the game. Rob Thompson more or less said, yeah, I got to wait till tomorrow. I don't have any other update. I don't have any more information. I'll take that over, Bryce Harper's leg fell off, so we don't know what we're going to do now. Okay, I'll take the I don't know over the, I do know, and it's terrible. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Kyle Schwarber. I don't know, but we'll wait to see what the imaging says. And yes, we'll wait to see how they feel. He said tomorrow, meaning today, when it comes to these injuries. A groin injury to Kyle Schwarber and a hamstring injury to Bryce Harper. Without further ado, let's hear from them right out of the gate. So you're not listening to my somewhat speculation. You're just hearing what they had to say about it. This is courtesy of KYW's David Uram on the scene.
So far, anything about, was it a hamstring that you felt?
Yeah, I felt my lower hammy just a little bit. So we're gonna get an image tomorrow just to see what that looks like. See how I, kind of feel tomorrow and go from there.
You felt anything like that before? Or?
No, I haven't. I've never had really any soft tissue injury besides my elbow. So gonna see, like I said, what imaging looks like tomorrow and go from there.
And Thompson said you just hit the bag awkwardly when you were running the first. Is that what happened?
No, I felt it before the bag.
Okay.
Yeah.
You feel it running up the line or reaching for it?
Yeah, just like halfway.
How concerned are you?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really, like I said, I haven't really felt anything like this before. So if I had something to go back on, I would, let you know. But I've never felt anything like this before, so it hurts. But we'll see. Like I said, see what it feels like tomorrow.
All right. It hurts, which is not a surprise. I've never felt anything like this before. Look, we just had Trey Turner out with a hamstring injury for a month and a half. Edmundo Sosa stepped in and played beautifully. Maybe Edmundo Sosa is now your third baseman if Bryce Harper has to miss any extended amount of time and Alec Boehm goes over to first base. Maybe that's the way this goes down. JT Realmuto has played limited first base, but we don't know exactly when he is going to be back from his knee injury. This is obviously horrible. This is in the midst of a historically incredible season where the Phillies are on pace to beat their their franchise win record for a season of 102, beat it by 4 games. They're on pace for 106 going into last night. 106 victories. You lose not only your best player, but obviously a guy who is the leading candidate for MVP of the league. And now that he's more than just a DH, you also lose that first baseman. This is a crushing blow to the Philadelphia Phillies. And the implications this could have on the trade deadline for the Phillies is huge. What if you have Bryce Harper out another month and a half, knock on wood, let's pray that's not the case. What if that's the case? What if that is the case, though? What if, as we, let our minds worry about what the hell could happen here with Bryce Harper, there's a million things on the table, it feels like right now. Whether it's expediting your own personal trade deadline, if you're Dave Dombrowski, be like, yeah, forget about it in August. We got to act now. Now, whatever, think about this. The teams that are, hoarding these players, if you will, and they're looking for the best possible offer, whether it's Mason Miller, whether it's Luis Roberts Jr., right? At least Robert Jr., whatever it is, you're looking at it and you're like, all right, I'm going to wait till the last minute because that's when teams might bulk and they go, all right, fine. We'll give you what you want. So now they're going to be asking for the top dollar, or maybe as deadline is closer, maybe the packages aren't as good as you thought they'd be, and you might give them for leaving less. Unlikely. More likely is the first scenario I laid out, where they're going to charge you everything they possibly can, especially if they know you're the Phillies and you're in a situation where you got to make sure you're adding a little bit more pop to your lineup without Bryce Harper in that lineup. It's a horrifying idea. And it's always in the back of your head. I think any sports fan that has experienced any loss, any athlete that was having some great year and then all of a sudden, see ya for a while. I think everyone always has it in the back of their minds. And that's why you hear it so often whenever you're talking about projecting a team throughout the entire season. One of the common cliches, and it's a cliche because it almost needs to be acknowledged because you need to remind yourself of it, is, well, they stay healthy. They can have the best season the Philadelphia Phillies have ever had. Okay. Well, this season has not been all that healthy. The aforementioned Trey Turner, the aforementioned JT Realmuto, and now Bryce Harper, and not only just Bryce Harper, but Kyle Schwarber, who was in left field. Now, I was just having this conversation with, I our cousin Greg, my dad's first cousin. Okay, cousin Greg Oates, right? We saw him at the wedding last weekend, right? It was great catching up and all that stuff. And we're at the bar between the wedding ceremony and the reception, and we're looking up and we're seeing Kyle Schwarber in left field. Now, Greg and my dad, they don't like Rob Thompson. They're not Rob Thompson fans. So they bring it up to me. And I know some of you guys on the postcast last night brought it up to me as well about Kyle Schwarber in left field. I get the method to the madness. I honestly, I don't hate it because you're going to have a situation where JT Realmuto is going to have to bat designated as a DH a couple times. So you got to get Kyle Schwarber acquainted. And listening to John Kruk talk about this, and I'll take his word over mine when it comes to it. But from this standpoint, because this is where I absolutely genuflect at the altar, towards the altar of the guys who have played the game, because I can't tell you what it feels like to play a Major League Baseball game. So I take a step back and I listen to my veterans here, okay? And in this case, it's John Kruk. And John Kruk has said a couple of different times this season, actually both times before tonight, and he said it again last night, but both times Kyle Schwarber was in left field, John Kruk would talk about how this particular team needs to have Kyle Schwarber in the outfield every once in a while, simply because when you are a designated hitter, you feel like you're not giving nearly as much as everybody else is, because everybody else goes back to work while you sit on the bench. And that kind of makes you feel detached. So maybe to help them feel still a part of it and into it and give them something else to do, you have them go out there. Plus, you add on to it what I'm talking about, which is JT Realmuto is going to need to bat DH. You're going to want to keep Kyle Schwarber's bat in the lineup. You're going to have him play out there in left field again. So I don't hate the idea of him being out there in left field. It's the third time he's been out there. I don't mind it. I get the method to the madness. I also get it from John Kruk's point of view, where if you're Kyle Schwarber, you still want to make sure you feel part of the team. You want to do more than what you're doing. So, of course, when he goes out to left field, he pulls his groin. And I don't know what he used the word. I'll let you hear from him, but he used the word abductor. Abductor was the Lane Johnson injury. I hope it's not as bad as that. But Kyle Schwarber, after the game, was asked about his groin injury. Here's what Schwarb's had to say.
Like groin kind of adductory thing, just kind of grabbed, and they wanted to get me out of there precautionary wise, and treated it, and we're going to see how it feels tomorrow and go from there. But personally, hopefully not. I don't think it's going to be super serious, and hopefully see how we come in tomorrow and see how it feels.
Do you feel like you need any imaging of any kind? Or not?
I'm sure we're gonna have to get imaging. So we'll see what's going on, but and go from there. So we'll see what happens.
Did it happen on a throw?
Just going down and kind of running towards third after that contact play, and the ball came in the outfield, and reached down barehanded, kind of planted the throw, and that's kind of just when it just grabbed, and from there, and I thought it cramped at first and finished the inning, but just kind of running in, didn't feel that, just could still kind of feel it there, and talked to the trainer, and he just didn't like where the spot was for if I was to get in a bat and have to bust it, so he wanted to get me out of there.
All right. I tried going back and seeing if I could see him do anything on that particular play that looked odd, and didn't see it. Certainly trying to field that ball in the seventh inning off the bat of Bell, the go-ahead run that he drove in there. Couldn't really see much other than he missed it. After the game, Rob Thompson said, as soon as he learned that Kyle Schwarber was having a little bit of an issue, we got him out of the game. Fine. And then you saw Brandon Marsh out there in left field. We're talking about possibly, 65 home runs, missing that kind of power in the lineup for a little bit here. The only encouraging thing that I heard from either player was not super serious. And you just heard it from Kyle Schwarber right there. Not super serious. It's not, I don't think it's anything super serious, but, okay. So 10-day IL, not going to miss a month, not going to miss 2 months, not done for the season. Is done for the season super serious? Clarify super serious. What do you think is super serious? Kyle Schwarber, you've been an athlete a long time. What is super serious? Somebody hit me up in the postcast last night with the simple fact that we just can't have nice things. That's where we're at. We just can't have nice things. This was a pretty nice thing this season that we were enjoying with the Philadelphia Phillies, and I can't help but think that if Emil Jimenez would have called a strike, should have called a strike, he would have gotten out of that inning. Matt Strahm would have come in the eighth, pitched a 1-2-3-8, just like he does. And then, I don't know, maybe Jeff Hoffman would have sucked like he has as of late. And then, you bring somebody else in, and then you're good. This was a rough one, and we're not going to know anything until later today. So this is going to be a long Friday. It's going to be a really long Friday. Hope you guys have some great plans to look forward to over the weekend. Because baseball-wise, even if the Phillies win the next 3 games, yeah, that'll be great. But I'm just going to be on pins and needles until I know what's going to happen with Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber. If there's any sense of comfort outside the idea of not super serious with Kyle Schwarber, okay. If there's anything other than that, that's some beacon of hope and glimmer of light, I'm going to go ahead and just talk about Bryce Harper's attitude when it comes to coming back from injuries. I mean, this is a guy that learned to play first base because of injury. Like, this guy has a real contempt for injuries. So if this is a hamstring injury, and I know this is nothing you can rush back, I get that. But if it's a type of situation where I'm sure Bryce Harper, the first question he's going to have is, can I make it worse? If the answer to that is no, then he's going to be out there. And he's going to be dealing with pain faster than the average bear goes out there to deal with pain. So that's one comforting thing. That if an injury is going to happen to anybody, and if it happens to Bryce Harper, obviously that's a huge blow to the team. If he misses a significant amount of time, that's obviously a huge blow to the team. But I at least can rest assured on this. There's going to be no lingering period of like, well, I'm not sure. He's going to be back as fast as humanly possible. Tommy John surgery? I don't give a damn. I'm going to learn first base. All right, cool. If he's never felt something like this before, if he's ever had something like this before, I'm curious to see how he responds. But what's between the ears of that man remains the same. That is a determined man to get back onto the baseball field as fast as humanly possible. So that's one thing I do look at with Bryce Harper, or any injury that he suffers. I know that this guy's going to attack it full tilt. And I know when we listened to Trey Turner, when he went on the men there with the hamstring injury, he talked about how he was going to make the training staff hate him because of how much he was going to attack his rehab. He had a little bit of a setback, unfortunately, missed another 2 weeks, and then finally he was back in the swing of things. So the mindset of Bryce Harper certainly is something that makes me feel a little bit better about the situation, if it is something that's going to make him miss a couple of weeks here. That I would assume he's a little bit more willing to deal with pain or discomfort than the average ball player is. So that's the way that shook out last night. Not fun. Christopher Sanchez gets the ball for the Phillies tonight, 6:20 start time, fireworks after the game. So that'll be fun. That'll be a great time. Yesterday, after the show, I had to scurry on over. Well, let me throw this out for the comments. Sorry, I missed this. Just your thoughts on the Harper situation, the Kyle Schwarber situation, and where do we go from here? I mentioned Edmundo Sosa at third. Alec Boehm at first. Hopefully this isn't where we have to go with this. Johan Rojas probably going to get called up if Kyle Schwarber has to miss significant time. And then you'll be back to Brandon Marsh and Christian Pache and all that. And then hopefully the next couple of weeks you get JT Realmuto back. But that's where we're at right now. So other than that, if you're standing next to Dave Dombrowski, if you're up there with Sam Fold, are you leaning into those guys going, all right, and trade in the next week? And then a trade in the next couple of days, boys? Can we get that done? Obviously, that's under the understanding that both Harper and Schwarber are going to miss a couple weeks. Do you pull that trigger right now? Or as fast as humanly possible? Are you advising the front office to do so if you're hanging out up there with the front office. All right. Everything's going to be fine. A couple of things. So after the show yesterday, I had to scurry on over to Fox 29. And they were asking us questions, me and Eitan, in the Bald segment about the second round. And one of the people that I was interested in the second round was I don't know if I've ever said the man's name correctly. Adam, I believe, Bona, who is a 6'8", 6'9" center power forward from Nigeria, whose real name I have no idea how to pronounce. I apologize. And he was at UCLA playing college ball. Very athletic player. Has grown into his body, one of those deals, but he's not like a 7-footer that needs to grow into his body, but very athletic, good rebounder, can be a physical player at times. And I thought, Sixers need to have somebody else to look at. Mo Bamba is going to be moved on from. Paul Reed might be involved in a trade. So they need another center. So I wanted them to look in that direction. They did that. It's still a bit of a project there. It's not somebody that's going to come in and all of a sudden be the backup to Joel Embiid. He is not the answer to, the Sixers need that backup center behind Joel Embiid. This is the guy. No, that's not the guy. He might be the guy if he develops insanely quick, but that's not the guy the Sixers are going to be relying on. They also signed Justin Edwards to a 2-way deal. Philadelphia native, played at Kentucky, went undrafted. He's a wing player. He can small forward. He can play a little power forward as well. 6'8", so another bigger bodied guy. Love the addition there. He's a Imhotep player, if I'm not mistaken. But I thought the Sixers, for whatever the second day in the draft can be, they had a decent second day. So other than Bona coming to the Sixers, the other idea I had was holding Bronny James hostage, essentially. Just, you draft him, and then all right, Lakers, give me a couple future firsts for him. You know how bad LeBron wants to play with his son. We have what you want. You give me this ransom. That was just a thought I had in my cold, dead heart. That's just the thought I had. But that's where we're at right now with the 76ers. I also thought more about Jared McCain, their first-round pick, and I said this yesterday. I like him as a player. When I watched Duke, I was impressed with what he brought to the table. His set shot, and I'm only comparing his set shot in terms of form, it reminds me a hell of a lot of Klay Thompson. I'm not saying he's going to have the career of Klay Thompson. I'm not saying that is the overall game comparison, because Klay Thompson is certainly not a point guard. He is a set shooter. One of my favorite stats about Klay Thompson is I think he had a 40-point game 2 years ago where he took 3 dribbles. It was one of those types of just set shot after set shot after set shot. Jared McCain can certainly move around the court and can play the point guard position. 6'3", more of the undersized variety, as we know. But the thing that really came to me yesterday was the idea that fit. You should never really look at fit. You should take the best player available. And I think they got one of the best players available. But I do think when you look at a guy like Dalton Connect, and this is what I got into yesterday, that's a guy that was still one of, if not the best players available, and 1,000 times better fit. So it got me thinking a little bit more as I was actually leaving Fox 29. And it's on the way home, and I was thinking, what if this isn't their pick? What if this is a pick that they know the Pelicans like, if they're going to make a trade for Brandon Ingram? What if that was the case? Now, granted, this is conspiracy theorist, all right? This is tinfoil on my head type of thing, because what team would want you to make their pick? If the Pelicans were at all interested, if the Pelicans wanted to have and I know I wasn't the only person, later I found I was the only person to have this kind of theory, but if the Pelicans wanted Jared McCain. They'd trade for your pick and they'd draft Jared McCain. Or another idea is that the Pelicans would trade for your pick and then have that asset in their back pocket. Maybe they would flip it. Or maybe they would actually take a player that they wanted at number 16 overall. So that to me is really what would have happened if there was really something going on here. I know the name Brandon Ingram has been, I think it was Derek Bodner who put it out there. I know that's been a name that's been buzzing around. We've talked about him here on the show just as potential targets for the 76ers. If Brandon Ingram gets traded to the Sixers and seeing what McCall Bridges just went for, Brandon Ingram is going to be expensive, be very expensive. If he's here, though, just talking from a talent perspective, not in terms of what you paid for him, I feel like that's a good first step. I don't feel the feeling from me and from the rest of the 76ers fan base. I don't get the sense that Brandon Ingram is any type of, and now we're going to the championship. I mean, yesterday, 2 days ago, when Daryl Morey addressed the media after the draft, and he talked about how this is a team that we feel when the season starts is going to be, the best in the East, competing to be the best in the East. I thought, Daryl, were you in a bunker somewhere without any TV or internet? Were you not able to watch the rest of the NBA when the playoffs, when the NBA playoffs were done, when the Sixers were eliminated by the New York Knicks, who just got better? Did you see how good the East looked? They looked good, right? Like you thought, those are good teams. You're not beating the Celtics. That's adorable if you think you can beat the Celtics right now. It's quite frankly like pinching your cheeks adorable. The Knicks not only got better, but they solidified themselves by keeping OG Anunoby on the deal he's on at $212.5 million. And then they added McCall Bridges. So, this is very interesting. The best in the East. Because even if you go by talent, you don't know the talent other than Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, and Paul George. But even if you go with that, you don't even know what you're going to get from Joel Embiid in the postseason still, as we got into a lot on yesterday's show, because I'm still in this very lost moment as a Sixers fan of, that this is all great, but you don't even know what you're going to get from Joel Embiid. Like, I enjoy looking at players through the draft. I enjoy watching the draft, following it, and all that stuff. And then you look at Joel Embiid, and you're like, but if he's not 100% again, or if he's not there at all, what are you going to do in the postseason? These other teams are loading up. Oh, and by the way, I didn't have to, if I was a Celtics fan, God forbid, if I was a Knicks fan, I mean, the Knicks have been terrible for a long time, so let's not get crazy. All right, they've been bad for a long time, but they didn't have a quote-unquote process where they completely forfeited years of fandom of thinking your team had any chance of winning, so they could load up on Villanova players, you know what I mean? But that's what they were pretty bad. They all of a sudden loaded up on Villanova players, and then they were better than the Sixers. It's in a really sick, twisted way. It's almost like over the last 2 years when there was rumors of the Knicks trading for Joel Embiid, it's almost like right now, I wish they would have. Because then this would be their problem to not be able to rely on their number one star. Oh, man. And it's saying this after you saw what I felt for the most part was a very gutsy, with the exception of the fourth quarter of game 4, I think it was, where Joel Embiid just disappeared. Other than that, it was a real gutsy performance. This is where we're at right now when it comes to the Sixers. This is where we're at right now when it comes to this squad. There's a lot of work to be done. And Daryl Morey obviously crawled out of his bunker to make, I think, the wrong pick in the draft. And after that, he had the cojones to say, we're going to compete with the best team. We're going to be the best team in the Eastern Conference. I admire your confidence, but I am terrified of your delusion. Boy. All right. So before we get to our chat check, I do want to ask this question to spin it back to Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber. your level of concern when it comes to that, and then your level of concern when it comes to the Sixers. Because with a 30-year-old, 31-year-old Joel Embiid, by the time the playoffs roll around again next year, I don't see this getting much better, and certainly doesn't look like you have much time to retool. You sure as hell don't have time to rebuild. This is a dark day. It's a very, very dark day. It's a very, very dark day. No, it's not a dark day, though, is going to a baseball game and enjoying fireworks after the game, right? And if you want to go to the Phillies game tonight, you want to see Christopher Sanchez hopefully pitch another 17 innings of scoreless baseball, just like he did in his last start, then, oh, baby, you go to the Game Time app. You download the Game Time app to your phone. You create an account. Use promo code FARZI, and you get $20 off your first purchase at the Game Time app. That's right. The Game Time app has you covered. They have last-minute ticket deals. They have flash ticket deals. They even have ticket deals for an hour after the event starts for mega, huge, kajunga savings on the Game Time app. And how about the Game Time guarantee? If you find tickets in the same section, same row for less money elsewhere, the Game Time app will get you back at 110% of the difference. They will refund your account 110% of the difference. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code FARZI, and get $20 off your first purchase. One of my favorite things, they always take the guesswork out of buying tickets, because when you buy this ticket, you could see the seat, the vantage point of it before you buy it. How about that? It's just that easy. Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code FARZI, and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Let's get into the chat check and see how you beautiful people are doing on this fine morning of a bad, hopefully what's a good news day. Sean Kilrain, what's going on? IBH, what's popping? Sean Gillespie, hello. Sean Gillespie, what's up with the city sports team's injuries? Damn. Well, let's see. Harper, Schwarber, always Embiid. Who am I missing? Is there anybody else I'm missing? Who else am I missing? I don't think I'm missing anybody else. No. You know, the Braves are looking at the Phillies right now. They're going, oh, injuries. Oh, interesting. We have some injuries. April. Good morning, April. Twiz, I saw you in that chat yesterday. I saw you in that chat talking your jive on the Dan Sileo show when I made an appearance on the Dan Sileo show yesterday. Dan asked me an interesting question. He always seems to ask. With great regularity, he asks interesting questions. And it was about more or less the weak point in this Eagles with the Eagles, whether it was coordinators or it was personnel. And I thought it certainly is not personnel. Like I think it was Pro Football Focus just ranked the Eagles defensive line as one of the best in football, like the third best offensive line or defensive line in football, which I was very pleasantly surprised to see, simply because you don't know what you have in Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis in the post Fletcher Cox era. So they still have a lot to go out there and prove, and I think they will go out there and prove it. And I certainly have said many times I love their mentality that nobody's coming to save us, and this is going to be all up to us to make sure we go out there and take full advantage of every opportunity we have this season. And everything from Jordan Davis and from Jalen Carter in the offseason has been along those lines. So personnel-wise, I still say no, not personnel-wise. I'm not afraid of Kellen Moore and a new offense, even if it is 95% new. And then the other thing that goes into this, my number one concern, for instance, I've said many times to you guys that this isn't an excuse year. Oh, Jalen Hurts needs a second year under Kellen Moore to really be good. Not with this offense, man. Not when you got Pro Bowlers, all pros that you're throwing the football to, or you're running with this offense, or you're handing the football to Saquon Barkley. Like, that's not, well, I need a year to figure it out. No. You could be a pretty damn good quarterback on your own. But with these weapons, you should be a pretty great MVP, again, level quarterback in the NFL. So the excuse of, well, he's got to get on the Patriots, same page with Kellen Moore, that's stupid. No, not accepted. The only thing that I look at this year that I do have a legit concern about in the personnel department is Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen, and then encompass that with Jalen Hurts. What I mean by that is specifically those three in communication. Mostly the communication between center and quarterback, but also center and the rest of his offensive line. I think Landon Dickerson is going to know where to be. I think Jordan Mailata, I think Lane Johnson, I think they're going to know where to be. Tyler Steen is still adapting to being a right guard. And he, as of right now, for all intents and purposes, is your starting right guard. So that little triangle of humans, okay, of Steen, Jurgens, and Hurts, that's a little bit of a concern for the communication between Jurgens and Steen and then Jurgens and Hurts. I have every bit of confidence that Cam Jurgens physically can go out there and get upfield and make blocks and hold blocks at the line of scrimmage and all that stuff. I don't know, as a center of this offensive line, whether or not he will have great communication with Jalen Hurts. I know that Jeff Stoutland is going to put his center in a great position to be successful. And he's going to coach him up. And I know that Jason Kelsey, who's still very much around, is going to be there to help coach Cam Jurgens up. And when it comes to Cam's relationship with Jalen, that has to be simpatico and great rhythm by the time the season starts. I won't know that until I see them in a game. I love to say training camp. Oh, their communication's great. But that's practice. All right? So I don't need to do a rant on, that it's practice. But when it comes to the regular season, that's got to be hit the ground running. That, to me, is the only legitimate thing that could prevent this team from getting off to a great start, is a learning curve between Cam Jurgens and Jalen Hurts. Not Kellen Moore's 95% new offense. Not that. Because I think Jalen Hurts is smart enough to understand that he needs to hit the books. And I think he has the work ethic to do that. And I think he also has a situation here where he needs to take this to the next level and get back to the level of play that he had really for the majority of last season, and then the level of play that he had for all of 2022. Something else we got into on the show yesterday, and thanks for bringing it up, Twiz, or good to see you again, Twiz, for reminding me of this. The other thing that we got into yesterday was the question again from Jalen Hurts from Martin Frank about Nick Sirianni and his adaptability. Because as I continue to move away from that and overthink it, the loyalty to Brian Johnson could have reared its ugly head in that answer, where it was, if you're Jalen Hurts and you really like Brian Johnson and you've known Brian Johnson since you were 4 years old, and possibly, and this is where the speculation comes in, if you're the quarterback of this team last year, and you're seeing a guy that you've known your whole life be hamstrung by a really crappy offense led by Nick Sirianni. Because up until this offseason, Nick Sirianni was still doing the game plan, and it was still very much Nick Sirianni's offense. And Nick Sirianni would hand the tools over to Brian Johnson, and all these dull tools, saws, nearly broken hammers. Hey, go call plays with this. But what you gave me is not great. You'll be fine. That's what he was given. I'm not talking about personnel. I'm talking about scheme. Because you can still call the plays, but if you're calling plays from a crappy scheme, those plays aren't going to be great. So now, instead of Nick Sirianni being fired and maybe Kellen Moore being hired as a head coach or Brian Johnson being hired as a head coach, you have Brian Johnson, the odd man out, and this new guy coming in that maybe is doing some of the philosophy, some of the schemes that Brian Johnson wanted to run, but couldn't because of Nick Sirianni. So now you're put in a position where you got to say something nice about Nick Sirianni. And he takes a hard pass on that. Maybe part of that answer was the loyalty to Brian Johnson. Maybe some of that was also, Brian Johnson could have done this. If even you went into this offseason with the idea of Nick Sirianni saying, you know what, I'm out. The guy that's in charge now of the offense is Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson, and maybe this was Jalen Hurts' argument, Brian Johnson should take over the offense. Not Kellen Moore, not bringing somebody new, and Kellen Moore's going to do it. Brian Johnson can do it. And I'm really hoping that Brian Johnson, as I really go down the rabbit hole, I'm really hoping that all of a sudden firing Brian Johnson ends up not being the demise of Jalen Hurts as the Eagles quarterback. And Howard Eskin put out the report last week about how Jalen Hurts was looking for an excuse. And he used the phrase. Now, Howard Eskin is the Eagles sideline reporter. He's in the building at the NovaCare complex. He does talk to people, as he always says. That's not something that Howard just pulled out of thin air, that they were going to Carson Wentz him. Now, I'm not saying that Howie pulled Howard Eskin aside and said, hey, make sure you say we're going to Carson Wentz him if that's a problem. I doubt that. But the vibe that he got certainly was, oh, we could ruin this whole thing. Imagine if the real first shoe to drop was Brian Johnson. Like if Brian Johnson was the Jenga piece you just couldn't move. And if you did, you lose all faith from your quarterback in the organization. From Jalen Hurts to the Eagles, he loses all faith in Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, certainly Nick Sirianni. Why am I even here? That's a rabbit hole, folks. That's a conspiracy theory. But we got into that yesterday. Now, I would certainly hope that a guy like A.J. Brown could pull Jalen Hurts out of that and say, snap out of it, man. We're trying to win a Super Bowl here. You win a Super Bowl, you can do a lot of things. All right, this is all fun. We're all having fun here. But anyway, good morning, Twiz. All that just from that. Appreciate you. April, what's going on? I hope Bryce won't be too long, but it doesn't sound great. It really doesn't. Sean Kilrain, I don't want to see Kyle in left field as our DH. We have options with Witt in left field, Dahl left field, Marsh. Come on, Topper. I concur. But in the event you want JT Realmuto as your designated hitter, and this is Topper's thinking, you're still going to want Kyle Schwarber's bat in the lineup. That's why he's doing it. I understand the method of madness. I understand that they got options. It's all good points, Sean. I absolutely agree. This was the third game that he played in left field. This isn't something that he's doing too many times. Fingers crossed with these injuries that they're not severe. Injuries can kill a team. That's for damn sure. Sean, absolutely. James Alexander, what's going on? Good morning. Just woke up watching Power Ghost Book 2 with these what? With these injuries, we have to find a way to keep momentum moving. If this is any long sustained period of time without them, I would assume Alec Bohm becomes your first baseman, Edmundo Sosa is your third baseman. Your regular lineup then consists of Johan Rojas back in center field and Brandon Marsh in left field. That's the way I see that working. Hey, maybe Brandon Marsh gets red hot. By the way, that's something else. Brandon Marsh was 4 for 4 with 4 RBIs, basically won you a game in Detroit. And then you're like, hey, take the day off. Thanks. WC, what's going on? Go Phils. April, man, here's hoping tomorrow's game isn't a poop show. WC, it seems Daryl Morey is out of touch and lacks relationships. Either way, no bueno. Jason, this is few words, greatly effective. Harper out worries me. This right here, folks. This right here. IBH, Sixers need to bring in Howie to build their roster. It took me a couple times reading this, Sean Gillespie, because East Philly is just, all right, best in East. Best in the East. He means East Philly. East Philly is Camden. So, yeah. Actually, you know what's funny? It's one of those things I never realized until somebody said it out loud, but there is no East Philly. West Philly, North Philly, South Philly, obviously. There's no East Philly. East Philly is Old City. East Philly is the river, Delaware, or Camden. That's East Philly. My journalism professor at college said it. Bill Ordine, who covered the Fog Bowl. He was at the Fog Bowl, ladies and gentlemen. Eagles beat reporter for the Inquirer, my professor at college at Temple University. Awesome dude, Bill Ordine. And he said, just keep in mind, always, there is no East Philly. I don't know who said it in my class. It wasn't me, for the record. Somebody said East Philly, and every time I hear that, I think of that moment. There is no East Philly. It's Old City and Camden. Jason, I like the other picks Maury got this second day. Oh, just for the record, Sean Gillespie, I'm not saying you're making a serious point. I know it's a joke, and I do find it hilarious. I like other picks Maury got this second day. Let's see where we go. Well, wherever we go, Jason A., there's a long road ahead to being even one of the top 3 teams in the NBA's Eastern Conference. Worried for sure. Sean Gillespie, very, very concerned about the Sixers. Need to rebuild the entire organization. Somewhat concerned about the Phillies. Sean Gillespie, here's where I'm at in life with the Sixers. I am at a point right now where I love Joel Embiid. I have loved watching Joel Embiid, and it's a shame Ben Simmons didn't work out. It's certainly a shame Markelle Fultz didn't work. Like, let's think about this for a second. If Markelle Fultz was Tyrese Maxey, if Tyrese Maxey was some years ago, and I have no concept of time with the process, it all feels like 20 years. But if Markelle Fultz was like the Tyrese Maxey level, I would feel so much better, so much different. Like you probably would have been in the Eastern Conference Finals by now. If that would have matched up a little bit better, and you weren't as reliant on, say, Ben Simmons, this would be a much different outcome. But unfortunately, the Sixers really, like the only lucky thing that turned out to not be all that lucky was Joel Embiid getting hurt at Kansas. That's it. That's the only lucky thing you had happen, was that you did get Joel Embiid. Everything else was the exact opposite of luck. I mean, I don't want to go through the whole history lesson, and I'm not, because you know the lesson. But 2 number 1 overall picks that don't pan out, and not only do they not pan out, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are still on the damn board. Oh my God. So I say this with all the love in the world for Joel Embiid. If Daryl Morey said, you know what? We're not able to get anything done this offseason. We weren't able to get Paul George. We're only able to get Brandon Ingram. It's time to blow it up and start over. And the only piece I'm keeping is Tyrese Maxey. So I get out the dinner triangle like you would on the farm, and I say to the rest of the NBA, Joel Embiid, come and get him. What are you giving me? And even if that's just a bevy of picks. So McCall Bridges went for 6 picks, right, in a swap. Joel Embiid, what's 20 picks? You get 20 picks for Joel Embiid? Because you could essentially trade Joel Embiid and you make sure he doesn't go to a real huge contender, so you have an opportunity for those picks to still be good. And, you just overhaul the whole thing. Ooh, you know what word just jumped? You know what phrase just jumped to mind? And it's an ick phrase. Is the one Ruben Amaro Jr. made when he traded Cliff Lee. Replenish the farm system. They had to replenish the farm system. Nobody in that trade was good. Everyone was terrible. Tyson Gillies had a problem. J.C. Romero, did he ever even pitch for I think he pitched for the big leagues. And Philippe Aumont, the 6'7" Canadian. But anyway, Sean Gillespie, thank you. Sean Kilrit, yeah, you and me, man. Sixers are a lost cause, Farzy, in my opinion. So there. By the way, let me just say this real quick again for those that didn't hear me say this before. Sam Hinkie would have definitely traded Joel Embiid by now. If Sam Hinkie was still running the team, Joel Embiid would have been traded, possibly even 2 years ago. Sixers lost cause, Farzy, in my opinion, so they're an incomplete grade. Phillies raised concerns for 2 core players, so my level for this is level 10. Mine too. No, that's legit. I think that's well illustrated, Sean. Thank you. Fire circle of protection around Harper's hammy. Very nice. Light a candle. Oh, prayer circle. Is that what you're saying? Prayer circle? Thank you, Buddy Christ. I still don't believe it was Brian Johnson calling the plays. How many times did the play call come in late and we barely had time to diagnose the defense? Your little bro stinks. Okay, I will say it again. The little brother that you guys refer to so often, looking at you, Twiz, is Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni's 1 year older than me. And yes, I do get that I look like Nick Sirianni. I usually get drunk Sirianni. All right? I get it. I look like his bald brother. But the other thing you got to keep in mind here, Twiz, is the idea that Jalen Hurts, he doesn't call his own plays, but he checks into a lot of his own plays. So, I don't know. Maybe Kellen Moore is 95% offense. Maybe why it feels... Because I do doubt that it's 95% different, okay? I do doubt that it's 95% different. Because that's like that's like an Andy Reid to a Chip Kelly. You know what I'm saying? That's 95% different. When it comes to Jalen Hurts, I think one of the things that feels like it's 95% different could be Kellen Moore going to Jalen Hurts and be like, look, dude, I know that you love the bubble screen. I know that it's your bread and butter and you love checking down to that bubble screen. You love that tight end screen. This has been, by the way, side note, acknowledged by Shane Steichen, acknowledged by Nick Sirianni, that Jalen Hurts loves that play. So I know everyone looks at Brian Johnson, bubble screen. Jalen Hurts loves that. So maybe Kellen Moore came up to him and was just like, dude, I know you love the bubble screen, but we're going to have to dial it back when it comes to the bubble screen. Maybe that's part of it. When Bryce said he felt it before the bag, it automatically raises concern. The video doesn't lie. You see it right before. When he went, like right before he lunged for the bag, if that's even the right word, you saw something didn't look in rhythm. And then immediately grabbed his hammy. Buddy Chris, I definitely need an espresso today. You know, it's gross, but I still finish it anyway. Is when my espresso's been sitting out for a while. It's a little cold. Not good, but, I don't waste. Yeah, it's not great. It's delicious when it first comes out. And then it's not anymore. That's why it's the only thing the Italians do quickly. I'm talking about like the Italians, like people in Italy. The only thing they do quickly with great haste is get espresso. It's the only thing. Un cafe? Well, gone. Sometimes they pay for it. No. My cousin, cugino. I don't need to say it. I see Dabrowski wheeling and dealing with these injuries moving forward. You agree, Farzi? Sean, yeah, I think that he's definitely. I think the phone calls are already being made. He's texting the White Sox right now, being like, "You up?" Probably did that. By the time Harper hopped the third time, Dave Dombrowski was probably already shooting a text message over to the White Sox. Hey, guys. Just seeing how you're doing. But, yeah, I think as soon as the injury status is known, he's going to start making moves. WC Eskin is an agent of chaos, always has been. Time for a red-hot start. Big bucks, no whammies. Thank you, T-Bro. Big people, pop, boom. Landed on Bryce's side, hitting 350 in July. There used to be a game, kids, called Press Your Luck. That was even before my time, but the reruns were on TV when I was a child coming home from school, and my brother and I would watch Press Your Luck. They did a revamped version of this, I want to say, with Elizabeth Banks a few years ago. Maybe more than that. But it was a great concept, and they had these little red trolls, demons, whatever they were, called whammies. And they would... Anyway, you have to see it. All right. Thank you for putting a smile on my face, T-Bro. You're the man. Everyone except the Sixers, I have hope for. Fire Maury. Twiz, I'm not far behind you. April, how long has the process been going? It's been 84 years. Yeah, well, the process is... the process was a failure. There's no debating it. Was a failure. The process is not over, unfortunately, because the process will not truly be over until Joel Embiid is no longer wearing a Sixers jersey. That's That's the cold, hard truth of it. As a Sixers fan, I mean, I hope that Joel Embiid is somehow, by some divine act of God, going to play the next 3 years and be 100% healthy and be the best he's ever been, and the Sixers are going to win 3 straight championships. That's what I want. It's not going to happen. But in that case, then the process will be a success. But until then, it's still an abysmal failure. Send the porcelain doll to OKC for players and picks. Let's go, says Sean Kilray. Instead of 2 holes in the Phillies lineup, we now have 4. No one on the farm to help, says Joe Whip. Yeah, who was helping on the farm are now up here. Although Johan Rojas, I just saw, was hitting like 455. Having himself a nice little week down there. 2 weeks down there. Sean Gillespie, for the life of me, I don't see the Chiriani resemblance. Yeah, I'm bald. I have a fatter face. What is hilarious is that, yes, our families come from the same part of Italy. So maybe there's a relation. Maybe back in the day, the Siriannis and the Farzettas, maybe they were stomping grapes, man. Maybe they were stomping grapes, talking about how much they love ball. They love ball, man. They're real passionate. Great grandpappy Farzetta and great grandpappy Sirianni. That's what we're out there talking about, how much they love ball. And they have the 5 core values of stomping grapes. Maybe that was the bit back in the day. How do you age your Soprasad? How do you age your how do you dry your Soprasad? How do you age your provolone? All right, I need to move on. There you go, Sean Gillespie. Farzi's head is more oval than Chiriani's. That's a nice way to say fat. Kidding. Maury gets the sack. Bring in Jay Wright. Make it right. Ooh, Joe Whip, that'd be lovely. Drunk on broad, been there. Why can't we have nice things? Wentz, Hurts, Embiid, now Harper, all getting injured in the middle of the MVP type seasons. That's a great point. I am not going to go there with Bryce Harper just yet. Because even if it is a hamstring, Bryce Harper, look, it's a long time. I'm not saying it's not a long time, but Bryce Harper would still, let's see, he'd miss all of July and he'd be back in mid-August? The Phillies will be fine by then, right? The one thing that I'm going to fall back on, now that you bring up those names, drunk on broad, when Carson Wentz went down, and I've said this recently, I think it was yesterday's show, but when Carson Wentz went down, my feeling was the Eagles are done. That was not my feeling. The Eagles are done. I know that was a lot of people's feeling. The Eagles are done. I remember I was working with WIP Morning Show at the time. Angelo and Rhea, and maybe somebody else, I forget who. Maybe it was Hollis. They were in California. They were in Los Angeles for a big trip for the Rams game, and they did the show early as hell out there, obviously. And me and Al Morgani were back in studio, and Al and I were talking to him like, I don't see how this is. Al was like, I don't see how this is that bad. And I'm like, I'm not as down. I'm not as doom and gloom. You are basically, you have a team right now that is born on third base. All right. Nick Foles is getting a team that's born on third base. All they need is a little, dribbler to first. All they need is a little sack fly. They're scoring. You could lock up the number 1 seed. You have a great defense. You could get to the Super Bowl with home field advantage. You could get to the Super Bowl. I remember literally thinking that the day Carson Wentz went down. So to relate it to now, first off, we don't know what's happening with Harper. Hopefully it's just at worst a month and a half, similar to Trey Turner. You have a great pitching staff. You have the best starters in baseball. You have other guys in this lineup that maybe you can't match like Harper and Schwarber. But, hey, Nick Castellanos, let's step up. Okay. All right, never mind. I talked myself out of it. No, in all seriousness, maybe this is time for Bryson Stott to step up. Maybe this is time for Nick Castellanos, who, going into last night's game, I have the numbers for you. Going into last night's game, Nick Castellanos, 325, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs, a 939 OPS and a 575 slugging percentage. So 325, the number to remember there. This is time for other guys in this lineup to step up. Maybe Alec Boehm starts hitting home runs. That's happened a little bit with some regularity, 2 home runs in the last week. That doesn't really happen much with Alec Boehm. You still have Trey Turner. You get JT Realmuto back. All you got to do is keep your head above water. That's what you got to do. And then Bryce Harper comes back, and then hopefully you have that typical August, the typical September where you lock things up. That's where I'm at. Jason A. Farsi, do you think the first pick McCain gets traded? Jared McCain. Yes, I think he does get traded. I made the point earlier in the show just saying how this is a situation with the Sixers where it seemed like they're making a pick for somebody else. Because when you have that many good players available, whether it was De Silva, whether it was Dalton Knecht, those are 2 better fits and really good players. So it seems like this McCain pick is for somebody else. April, Rhea was the best when I was there. She is hilarious. Pressure Luck was a classic show. Speaking of classic, do you need to come in, sweetheart? It's been a while since you crashed. Look at that head of hair, kid. Come on. Come on.
I'm just going to stay here for a couple hours and then...
You're just going to stay here for a couple hours?
Yeah, and then I'm just going to watch A for Adley.
Then you're going to watch A for Adley. Okay. You know, your father has a show on YouTube, but, whatever. You want to say hi? Can you tell Philadelphia it's going to be okay? They need to hear it's going to be okay with Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber getting hurt. Can you tell them that it's going to be okay?
I don't want to.
All right. Oh, you just wanted to mug on camera? You didn't want to give a solid message?
Fine.
All right, go ahead. Let's hear it. We're all waiting. It's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay.
I really didn't believe it. You didn't sell me on it. Can you give it to me again? It's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay.
That was a little better. All right. I feel better now. Thank you. You all right? What are you doing? Did you get your apple juice?
No.
It's in the fridge. Are you still going to hang out down here, or are you going to go upstairs?
I'm going to just there.
You're going to stay here for a couple of hours?
And then we'll watch it.
And then she's going to watch A for Adley. There you go. April says good morning. Sean Kilrain says good morning. Sean Gillespie says good morning. What's up, little MacGyver? Let's see. Next man up mentality. Nikki 3 buttons, no excuses. Love it. Joe Whip, I knew the Birds would win Super Bowl 52 as I had to be in Mumbai. And you watched on your laptop. That is awesome. That's dedication right there. Here, say good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody.
Can you say it like you mean it?
Good morning, everybody.
All right. All right. Hold on. You're falling. You're falling. Come here. There you go. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful, as per usual. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, skymotorcars.com. Phillies back. What?
That was it.
That was it. What?
Wait, that ticket.
What?
Wait, Dad, that's a real camera you take pictures of?
That's a real camera, yeah.
And you take pictures?
You can take pictures, but with modern technology, we often just use our phones. When you want to look at baby pictures of yourself. Just keep staring at yourself. You're just like your father. Where was I? Oh, the Phillies play tonight, 6:20. Christopher Sanchez on the hill tonight. For the Phils, fireworks after the game. All that type. Yes, fireworks. Do you like fireworks?
Yeah.
Really?
I like the sound.
You like this sound?
Yeah, but why we don't see every firework?
Do you want it? Well, it's not the 4th of July yet. So you want to go see fireworks on the 4th of July? Okay, we'll go see fireworks on the 4th of July.
with mommy.
I don't know.
I mean, daddy.
She's coachable. 6:20 tonight. Christopher Sanchez against Kyle Tyler. Kyle Tyler. Yeah, he's starting for the other team today. The Marlins.
What?
That's a fish. But yeah, that's what's going on tonight. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Say bye. Say have a great day.
Bye. Have a great day.
Oh, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You want to say it's your friend Kayla's birthday. Go ahead.
Today is my friend Kayla's birthday today.
You want to say happy birthday?
Happy birthday.
Oh, isn't that nice? Kayla's very nice family. Thanks, everyone. I know April, she's getting so big. I know.
Who's April?
Hey, you know April from the chat. You've said hello to her before.
But I do not know her.
You know her from the chat, sweetheart. Jason A, thank you.
But
Sean
you said Carson.
Carson?
Yeah.
Your friend Carson?
Yeah.
What about Carson?
You used it when I was upstairs.
Yes, I showed you a picture of Carson. Yes.
Oh, no. No, when you're doing the game down here. You said Carson.
Oh, I did. I said Carson Wentz. He used to play quarterback for the Eagles, not your friend Carson.
I forgot.
Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Wonderful weekend. I'm gonna get some apple juice. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Hey, on the postcast, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. That's Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. And make sure you guys check me out on the postcast as well. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Subscribe to Jacob Media. Also, subscribe to the Farzi Show. See you guys after the game. Bye.
That's you, Jerky.